What's up, B2? Capital G here, giving you guys a quick deck profile from what I took to the Richmond, Virginia regionals over the weekend. It was 9 rounds of Swiss. I think that we had something like 360 people there, which was by far the biggest Richmond regional I've ever went to. And I've been going to Richmond since GX, since like 2006, so it's been a long time. The event was, man, it was so many Salamangreat players there, and I really thought that, Thunder Dragon was going to be the most popular deck, but Salamangreat seem to be like the new age Black Wings, and they are extremely popular. My final record was pretty shameful. It was 6-3. It was good enough to get me my invite, but I don't even think I deserved it, to be honest. But I do have a couple more events in the next month. YCS Atlanta, also another regional, and then another regional in April. So, hopefully we'll be able to get a top 8 within some of those events. But I'm gonna show you guys what I ran, what I liked, what I didn't like. Also, quickly, my matchups were we played 2 Pendulum Magicians, 2 ABC, we played Thunder Dragons, we played True Draco, Ultra Guys, Sky Striker, and the Mirror Match, and I won every one of them except the Mirror Match. I lost to Sky Striker and Thunder Dragon as well. So anyways, let's go ahead and break down the deck really quickly. We had 3 copies of Lady Debug. Lady Debug, one of the best normal summons in this deck. It's super good if you're going first, but I do actually prefer to side this card out going second, mainly because if you're playing against a deck and they hard disrupt this card, for instance Solemn Strike, or if your opponent uses like Ultra Guys Protocol, your turn will literally just end. Also, it's just really mediocre against like Thunder Dragons if you go second, because they'll put Colossus on the board and it's not actually a level 3. Excellent if you're going first because it gets all your combo pieces, and you can go into Banelinks after that. Even if they hand trap it, you're on your natural progression. 3 copies of Gazelle, best card in the entire archetype. Konami will never make a card better than this. You never even consider siding this card out no matter what you're playing against. Armageddon Knight, but for spells and traps, and really you're always going to run 3 copies of this until ultimately it gets hit on the ban list if they decide to hit it. Believe me, if they ever hit Salamangreats, it will be Gazelle. Gazelle is the best card ever for this archetype, and don't ever run less than 3. 3 copies of Spinny, natural extender for this deck, and I mean, it's just an excellent card because it puts itself on the field for free. Really good for Xyz fodder. If you run Fusion of Fire, it's even better because that 500 attack gain can actually be super relevant. I ran 2 copies of Foxy. Honestly, I wish I ran 3 because I just wasn't hard drawing this card enough, and really when you side out the Lady Debugs, I don't really have any monsters to side in that keep my engine like super consistent, and I really just wish I was hard drawing this card more. So moving forward, I will put Foxy up to 3. Originally I was running 3, but then I cut it down to 2, and at the event I honestly wish I had 3. Foxy's really good. It's like Dark Magical Circle. Reveal 3 cards off the top of your deck and you can add a Salamangreat. I ran for my 1-ups, we've got we have Raccoon, Falco, and Jack Jaguar. These 2 are just like standard. You're gonna see this in all Salamangreat decks. This is your max extender. This is kind of like Zephyros the Elite, helps you recycle your spells and traps as well. Can summon itself free from the graveyard by bouncing one of your Salamangreat main deck monsters. This one is in theory really good against like Thunder Dragon and in the Mirror Match, but I didn't really play a lot of those. I played a lot of control decks, and it's obviously not that good in control matchups. So Raccoon was really good in testing because I would play against a lot of Thunder Dragons, but in real life where you don't really know what you're going to play against, I just feel like I'm going to end up cutting Raccoon. I mean, it's okay, but the problem is if you have it and then you have like another Salamangreat monster that's not like an inherent crazy like pop off card like Gazelle, it can kind of be mediocre. So I'm not going to play Raccoon in the future, and it didn't perform all that well. For my level 3 engine, just these were supposed to be extenders. I ran 2 copies of Danger Jackalope and then 2 copies of Danger Snake. So this, like in theory, and I stand by this, I still think these cards are better than Psychic Wheeler, but honestly they were really hit and miss, and I'm going to take these cards out. They were supposed to be just kind of like level 3 extenders. If you had Gazelle and you didn't have Spinny, you could summon one of these guys, and then you could not have to dump Spinny in the grave and basically still get the Stalio. But the problem is, like, sometimes I would pop off with the danger cards, and then sometimes I'd open with like Danger, Snake, and Raccoon, and I'd be like, wow, I can't do shit with these 2 cards. One game I think I used Danger Snake, and I ended up revealing this, and my opponent discarded Jackalope out of my hand, and that was just the nuts because I summoned this, drew a card, and then summoned the second Snake off of this card, and obviously I won that. map, but they were just kind of inconsistent. Honestly, the discarding wasn't that big of a problem because all the monsters in this deck, for the most part, like all the Salamangreats, you can add them back to your hand. Same things with the Spell and Trap. It's just when you open with a danger and you don't have another level 3, the hand is really awkward and it can be mediocre. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Best hand trap. Thank you for reprinting it, Konami. Also, it's fire, so you can juggle it in this deck because you can, you can add fire monsters with Sunlight Wolf. More hand traps. I ran 2 copies of Ghost Spell and 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Legit, this card, you're seeing a lot of play from Salamangreats. I should have ran 3 copies of this. This card is actually just really good in Salamangreats. Not a hard once per turn. That's really nice. Ghost Spell performed okay. It's not super good against control decks, like against Altergeist or True Draco. I did side it out, but again, Sky Striker, just being able to stop Kagari is good enough. I think that it's okay in the mirror match because it can stop things like it can stop Sunlight Wolf. It can also stop Will the Salamangreats. It can stop Spinny, Jack Jaguar. A lot of good stuff. I got to test it more against Thunder Dragons. It used to be able to, it was just kind of hit Dragon Hawk and that was good enough. But I don't know. Thunder Dragons have so many freaking plays now. It's like, my opponent played 2 duels and he never used Dragon Hawk and it just wasn't that good. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. This card underperformed because, I don't know, I maybe it's just that I was playing a lot of, kind of rogue decks, but against True Draco, Pendulums, Altergeist, it was just dead. Really good in the mirror match, but honestly, it's just not good enough. I know that it hits hand traps, but I've said for a while now, hand traps do not beat Salamangreat, so I don't think I'm going to play this. It was supposed to be really good against Thunder Dragons, but the new version with the Guard Dragons, like I don't even know if they play Dragon Matrix anymore, and if you're using it on the baby dragons like White and Black Dragon, you're just taking a neg. So honestly, I'm just not going to play that card in the future. 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle, Wheel of the Salamangreat, and then we also played Salamangreat Sanctuary. This is the only brick in the deck because you get to add it for free basically anytime you go into Banlinks. This is kind of like your Monster Reborn, and this is your Rhoda. You basically are always going to keep these cards in. The only time I do side out Circle if I'm playing against like Thunder Dragons and I'm going second because you will not get any searches off. They will always make at least 1 Colossus. For my traps, I played Impermanence. Impermanence was solid basically against everything that wasn't True Draco. Never really wanted to side this out except against the True Draco matchup. It was really good in the Pendulum matches. I don't think I ever let Electromite resolve like 1 time. I basically always had Impermanence or I had like Effect Veiler or something like that. 2 breakthrough skills. It was super good in testing because I thought that I would play a lot more Sky Striker and a lot more Thunder Dragons. And really, Thunder Dragons have evolved past just a bunch of fucking Colossus on field. And that's kind of how my theory was for them. Like, they're just going to put 3 Colossus on field, no problem. But now they're summoning like Hot Red Dragon Archie and Abyss and Crystal Wing and all this other crazy shit. So this card just, didn't really perform that well. I did side it out a lot, but it wasn't dead. It was never a card where I drew it and I was like, oh my god, I can't use it. But honestly, I think I would rather just play something. Like, I think I'd rather just play more Veilers, cards that I can activate from my hand that aren't going to get locked down by Dinko or Red Reboot. And then for the Salamangreat traps, we've got 1 copy of Rage and then 2 copies of Roar. This was an okay ratio. I think that I could probably get away with running just 1 copy of Roar because I don't think I ever actually needed the second Roar in the entire tournament. For the extra deck, I played 3 copies of Banlinks. I believe that you need all 3 because against a good duelist, like you generally will go through all 3 copies and, really you're going to commit most of your extra deck space to Salamangreat Link monsters or Salamangreat monsters in general. I mean, you don't really summon that many monsters in this deck that aren't Salamangreats. 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf. This is basically the win con of the deck. You just sit on that card and make advantage. We've got your 2 copies of Heat Leo. I believe that the proper ratio is to run the rare/common copy that comes in the structure deck, and then also run the Tensei art, so that when you Tensei or Reincarnation Link, your opponent knows that your monster is getting more strong. They need to visualize it. They need to actually see it. Bunch of other Link monsters that I basically like never really used in the tournament. I don't think I ever summoned Transcode Talker the entire time. Flame Administrator was probably the one that I did summon the most. It gives all your Link monsters 800 attack, including itself. It's also Fire and Cyber, so that's really nice. So, it does work with the rest of the deck. And then for the Ixies, we ran 2 copies of Mirage Stalio and 41. 41 can be interchangeable with Abyss Dweller if you want. And really, I think I actually could have gotten away with 1 copy of Mirage Stallion. I used to run that back in the day, but sometimes sometimes I would like, you know, I would need the second copy, but generally you can bounce it with Jack Jaguar. I will play, I guess, you know, I showed this really quickly, but I did not play Fusion of Fire, which means I did not play Violet Chimera. I think in the future, just because, like, to me, I think Salamangreat is the most popular deck right now. This card is just, like, these are nuts in the mirror match, so I'm probably just going to add this in. It's a brick if you're going first, but it beats the mirror match, and going second is kind of a nuts card. For my side deck, I ran 2 copies of Twin Twister, and then I also ran 2 copies of Herald of the Abyss. These were the spells that I side decked. These were fine. This card was supposed to be a 1 card out to Colossus, or a 1 card out to any Sky Striker Link monster, since it does not trigger the Ray in the Graveyard. Didn't really impress me that much, so I'm not going to play him anymore. 2 Evac Device. I think that the Therio behind this is still really good, and this card actually did perform really solid in the tournament. I used it to out Boiled Sword Dragon, which was like super nice. Also, 1 card out to Colossus, 1 card out if you're going first against the mirror match. You can just bounce your opponent's Stalio. You can bounce their Sunlight Wolf for like 1 card, and your opponent's like, oh no, I can't recover. 3 copies of Pankratrops, only monster that I actually side decked. Pankratrops was really good. I thought I would play against more Azathoth decks, but like none of they just, I don't know if they scrubbed or people weren't playing them, but they weren't really that popular. Then for the other traps that I sided, the 3 copies of Go Second and Win When You Activate It, evenly matched, don't need to explain that. And then Goes in Match. These probably should have been rivalries. I underestimated Thunder Dragon's ability to just kill me with dark monsters, which obviously it cost me a duel because I got 2-0'd, but I wouldn't even play rivalry. I'm just not going to play any more Floodgates. Really, I'll figure out something else to side, but I don't think that I would play these. The evenly matches were fine. You just, you know, use them against pretty much anything going second that like isn't the mirror match. Overall, I think that, you know, I'll take out the calls. I'll add probably more Veilers. I'll see about the Ghost Spells. 1 card that I do think 100% I will be adding to this deck is a Fantastic Dragon. I think that like my opponent, I mean, he savaged me in the mirror match. He chained, or he summoned, or he activated Fantastic Dragon. Then he chained Ghost Reaper, but I just couldn't kill that damn thing. That thing is just so good against like all the meta decks. I mean, against like, you know, Altergeist and some of the rogue decks like Draco, it's not going to be good, but that's what, you know, you can side it out. But I legit think Fantastic Dragon is like good enough the main deck. But hopefully we can get a regional top 8 within a month. And if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.